Hey, welcome to Digging into the Bible. My name is Jim Barnard. This is a production of Taylor Coaching. All right, well, it's day 75. Thank you for joining me. Wow, 75, that is even hard to believe. It feels like this has flown by in so many ways, and such a fantastic study of this Gospel of Matthew. I hope that you've enjoyed it. We are so close to the end here. But today's section is really, really tragic to me. Like there's kind of feelings involved in this, and so let's just go ahead and dig in, I guess, and we'll see what happens. We are in Matthew chapter 27, starting at verse 1. When morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And they bound him and led him away and delivered him over to Pilate the governor. When Judas, his betrayer, saw that Jesus was condemned, he changed his mind and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. They said, What is that to us? See to it yourself. And throwing down the pieces of silver into the temple, he departed and went and hanged himself. But the chief priests, taking the pieces of silver, said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, since it is blood money. So they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field as a burial place for strangers. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken by the prophet Jeremiah, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him on whom a price had been set by some of the sons of Israel, and they gave them for the potter's field as the Lord directed me. All right, so first of all, that last part, where they're referring back to the prophet Jeremiah, there's such a cool callback to Zechariah, the second to last book in the Old Testament. This is chapter 11, verse 13. The 30 pieces of silver. There's no coincidence here. All of this stuff. Matthew has been such a pro at calling back. Like if you know the scriptures, which ironically the chief priests and the Pharisees and the scribes, they know these scriptures so well. And yet there's so many fingerprints here that are like, that, okay, and it's amazing how Matthew has weaved this through this entire time, these callbacks to the Old Testament. Enough with that. It's obvious to me that Judas has come to his senses and that he is severely regretting his decision. And I guess I can relate with that, man. There's been so many decisions that I've made that I've regretted deeply. Wish I could just list them all here for you. That'd be great, nice and cleansing for me. And who doesn't love to hear a good secret? But the regrets that we carry with us can be so damaging. And I don't know if you've ever experienced regrets to the level of wanting to harm yourself. This really is tragic. I don't think anyone is glorified by the fact that, Judas did this terrible thing, but then he went and killed himself. That doesn't help the situation. That doesn't glorify God. That doesn't make the situation for Jesus any better. If you've ever been there, man, my heart breaks for you. I revealed earlier in this study that, I went to this treatment center down in Florida, Honey Lake Clinic, and there were thoughts of doing something really damaging to myself. And while I never actually attempted, thank God for that, things had gotten so sideways in my head that the thought popped into my mind, and I hate admitting that, because there's no other word for it other than it just sucks. It's wrong. It's not the way it's supposed to be. We've talked about this so much. We are a child of God. There's this spirit of adoption. And if my little boy, Anderson, wow, if he decided to do that, I don't even know. I don't know how I could live. It would just be so devastating. And, so God mourns this loss so deeply. I believe it. Okay, that got real for me for a second. I think it's so funny to me that, the chief priest and the elders are like, well, go figure it out for yourself. They're very dismissive. That's not surprising. They've been very dismissive this whole time. But, them saying, well, it's not lawful to put the money into the treasury since it's blood money. All right, seriously? Like, these guys are like so letter of the law, but don't get the spirit of the law. I don't know, man. Like, this story is just so tragic because it is so full of regrets. And I wish we could see in this story the regrets of the chief priests and the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees and all these people that, accelerated Jesus's death. Now, it's absolutely necessary that Jesus dies as this sacrifice, but man, talk about regrets. I can only imagine that once they get awakened to the truth, that it was something that was really hard for them to deal with, the same way it was hard for Judas to deal with. All right, I think that's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate you guys being on this journey with me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue on with Matthew chapter 27. See you then.